morning, brothers and sisters. I will say good morning to my beautiful, amazing brothers and sisters. God loves you, and so do I. Love you so much. Um, it's always a nerve-wracking to come up here. It's very difficult. But yeah, today I have this title, Filial Piety. It's a very amazing and broad subject that I think every family should focus on and invite their children and talk about every single day to help our children and ourselves too, because before God and before your parents, we are all children, right? So, and we cannot talk about filial piety without mentioning the family. So I'm just going to read a little bit something about what your father said. He said the family is the smallest unit where we can practice and perfect the four great loves, the four great hearts, true parental love, true brotherly and sisters love, true conjugal love, true filial love. A true family is a training ground and a school to achieve true love and true character. And then in another sermon I read, it say filial piety is perfected in a mature, unselfish mind of the adult child who sympathizes with his parents' difficulties and sufferings and recognizes them to be more serious than his or her own small problems. Most importantly, filial piety is the doorway to a deeper relationship with God, our divine parent. When I was thinking about this, I was like, sometimes we think we are filial piety to, like we love God. I know, I'm coming. um, and how can I be filial to heavenly parent if I'm not filial to my parents? Because I don't see God, right? We don't see God. We cannot see God. So, but we have our parents, and they represent God. We have true parents. They represent God, and through them, by serving them, by loving them, by attending them, then we can satisfy God, God's heart and God's desires. So, and this morning I was touched by a sharing of Dr. Word in morning devotion. He was asked to share his appreciation, and he shared about something his mother did when he was young. And even though his mother did something that the wife mentioned later on after that, which was Dr. Wood was abducted, I think kidnapped 2 times because he was following true father. But the mother, that's the mother's love. So the way we protect our children, because the mother thought what he was doing was bad. So trying to protect his child made her do what she did. Not because she didn't love her son, but she wanted to protect him. And later on, actually, she realized that what the son was doing was not bad. So before she died, she was able to apologize, I think, to the son and told him that his belief, his teaching was a real religion, which was amazing. So today, actually, I decided to not just share this message with you, but I wanted to invite some of my elder sisters, like Margaret-san, Juta-san, and Yoko-san. Each one of them will come for 2 or 3 minutes to share about something about filial piety from where they originally come from. So I was just curious to know something about how it is over there, where they come from, and I will also share from where I come from, how it is applied. And after that, Robert, our brother Robert, is going to be the one reading the slide I made for, from True Parents' Words. And I like Robert because Robert had this voice that sounds like God's voice. So, yeah, when I was a child, when I imagined God's voice, it's like Robert's voice. So when he's going to read, just close your eyes and try to connect with the message, and you're definitely going to feel like God is talking to you. Yeah. So first I will invite Mrs. Kim, if you can just share 2 minutes, And after that, Jutta will come and then Yoko. 2 minutes or 3.
Something about Korea?
I told you already.
Tell me. Say something about filial piety in Korea and in 2 minutes.
2 or 3 minutes.
She said I can do 3 minutes instead of 2 minutes. Well, in Korea, I can say we have 500 years of Confucianism throughout Lee Dynasty. That's the latest. So if you know anything about Confucianism, it's all about family, the order, the etiquette, and the heart and everything. I wouldn't go into deep. 500 years we have this basis for family and filial piety and the weddings, funerals, and how it's supposed to be done and all this. But today, it is very different. It is very different, all mixed, as you know, like anybody, anywhere in this world. We have the lowest birth rate in the world. And the population is going down very, very fast. And the society is very confused. And I mean, this is an amazing time we live. So even if we have 500 years of teaching how important family is, how great to be able to serve each other, love each other, parents and everything, when this is not absolutely connected to God in true love, even if it has 500 years of history, it's destined to disappear. So this is very important because we are called to establish true family. So although I grew in that culture, to understand what filial piety that what we are called to establish, to start, is not that easy to understand. I think this is, we have a great power, great responsibility, and great opportunity to be able to start this incredible, what would you say, value of family, the order, and what is true love, how is it really connected? I mean, I'm not really prepared to give you a long sermon, but I just like to be able to tell you that you should be able to understand what filial piety is, and you have the power and opportunity to establish this family. Thank you very much.
From Germany. Good morning. I, being from the German background tradition, filial piety is not a word we use. Even I tried to translate it, and it just didn't fit. It made it like childish, but as an adult, you don't want to think you are childish. Anyway, German tradition is based on Christianity. And I mean, if you go into history, there was like more than, 1,500 years of Christianity, which made Germany a very Christian nation. And even though my family wasn't, church-going Christians, but we had some very specific traditions where I can see where filial piety is definitely part of it. I looked into some ancestral records, and they all had married when, and stayed married for the rest of their lives, and, building whole clans with lots of kids and everything. And so I'm thinking, that's a good tradition. I have a good benefit through my ancestors. And so, that's the tradition. But if you look into Germany, especially this past century, it was completely destroyed. Mr. Herr Hitler took completely away the pride the German people had, not only in their nationality, but in the parent-child relationship, because you had to join the youth of the Führer, in order to be accepted and to, go forward in your life. In many ways, I'm very proud of my parents, because when I was a child, 12 years old, it was just before 1961. You all know the wall was built August 13th, but my parents somehow had the feeling that something would happen. So one day they just closed their store. They owned a store. They closed it up. They closed the apartment, took us 4 children, a couple suitcases, and we went from East Germany into West Berlin, which meant we became refugees. My parents had the idea that at least we want to provide for our children a future, because in socialism, they didn't see a future, because you can't choose your job. You have to do whatever they provide for you, and my parents didn't want us to be educated as socialists. In those days, we didn't call it communism or whatever. Anyway, so I really feel my parents did a wonderful condition for us. Another incident where I feel filial piety from my parents was expressed was, my parents were married for more than 25 years, but at the time of their 25th anniversary, my dad wanted to take my mother to southern Italy, where he used to be during the war, for a special trip. And but anyway, it didn't work out, or they didn't make the plans, but they said, okay, let's take all the kids, including my sister-in-law, who was married to my brother at that time, all in one car, and we all drove together to southern Germany. We stayed in youth hostels, which is, we don't know anything about this here in America, but in Germany it's very popular to go into youth hostels, and as a family you can even rent a family room. And so we spent like maybe 4 or 5 days, and we had a wonderful time as a family. And I never forgot that, because I thought, my parents sacrificed their own special silver anniversary trip for us. And so anyway, there are many things where we can feel, oh yeah, that made a difference in my life. And so, thank you.
Hello. This is nerve-wracking because I totally forgot about I was supposed to give a testimony. So anyway, thinking about Korean tradition and also German tradition, Japanese tradition about the family is maybe based on Confucianism. So like both of them mentioned, modern generation, our generation is not really a generation of filial piety, including myself, because I cannot really call myself a filial daughter because I was a really rebellious daughter when I was a teenager. But I can proudly say my father's generation, up until father's generation, is a really generation of filial piety. I can't speak of in general term as a Japanese society, but my father's family, my grandfather passed away at age 49, and my grandmother was 42 with 7 children. Oldest was 22, and the youngest was 2. So she became a single mother with 7 children. She was so devastated, and my father was 17 years old at the time. Then older brother, 5 years older than him, took a responsibility as replace of father, became a father figure for all the younger siblings. So together with my father and uncle, my father's older brother, took responsibility to taking care of a younger sibling and lay them up, and also help them to marry and everything. And also to support the mother, support my grandmother. They have a family business of barbers. So my father himself had a dream as a young 17 years old. He wanted to be an inventor. But those days, usually the tradition is if you are born in the business, family business, usually children just inherit that, if you are born as a barber, you become a barber, So he became a barber, even though he didn't, I don't know, he wanted to become something else, but he wanted to support his mother, so he did. So I am really grateful for that. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your sharing. Yeah, so where I come from, filial piety is an obligation, actually, because we are Muslim, and the Quran is very, 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 yeah. It's an obligation and not merely the optional, like the optional tradition, like of the Prophet. So because it is a duty for every Muslim, so those who do not fulfill its requirement are considered to commit sin. So that's how serious filial piety is where I come from. So growing up, my father actually really played a big role for me and my siblings. I come from a family of 9 kids and more. But my dad, I remember at a very young age, taught me to pray, and also always reminded me to help my mother when I was young. So whenever my mother is doing something, my father will call me and ask me, "Where's your mom?" And I said, "In the kitchen." She said, "You can go and help her." So I will go, and whatever my mom wants me to do, I will try to do that as a young girl. And growing up, it keeps going like that. My dad always remind me, whenever my mom is doing something, and I'm not there to help, my dad will call me and ask me, "Why are you sitting there while your mother is doing something?" So it became a habit for me and my siblings to serve my mother, to take care. So at some point, actually, in my life, I get so mad if I see my mom doing something while I'm in the house. She's washing clothes or being in the kitchen. I don't agree with that. I get so mad. I said, I cannot be in the house, and allow you to do this kind of stuff. If you see me, I'm here, don't touch anything. So that's what filial piety, is very, even here, Africans who live in America, they still have that tradition. Their children stay home. They don't go out of the house at 18. You need to be home with your parents. You need to take care of your parents. You need to serve them. You need to satisfy them. You have to take care of your parents' needs. Like my siblings and I, we took care of our parents. Once my brother started working, my parents retires. No more. We all have to do something. We have to chirp in, participate, and feed our parents, wash their clothes. We cannot live a comfortable life if our parents are not comfortable first. So that's how important it is for Africans or Muslim people to really take care of their parents. So our parents are like God to us. I will just try to say something. We should talk to them. You talk to your parents gently. You make time for them. You take care of their needs and pray for them. And they said also, he said, from our birth, our parents take care of all our needs, nurture us, love, support, whatever, whenever we are going through something, pray for us, and never leave us alone in a situation. No one in this world can be as great as our parents. So they deserve the most selfless person, they be the most selfless person in our life who only wish good for you and want nothing else in return. They will cheer you up. Your parents, kids cannot understand. My mom always used to tell me, "You're never going to understand my heart until you have your own children." And I have an experience I will share later because Robert is going to have to read your parents' words. But that's true. You can never understand your parents' heart until you have your own children. And that's why it's very, very important for kids to listen to their parents. For us the parents are not here anymore, Maybe we may have some regrets, but it's not the end of the world because there are so many elder people out there. You see your mother, you see your fathers in the society, you see your brothers and sisters. And if my parents are no more here, I can still serve my parents through those elderly people, even I don't know them. And it's something I practice at work. And even here, sometimes I will come. I remember one time I come here, and Miss Kim always ride the bus. And I left here. Did not ask her if she needed a ride. But I felt so much guilt when I got home. I wanted to come back, but I was like so ashamed. And I said, wow, this is never going to happen. And since that day, every time I come, I see Miss Kim. I will ask her, do you want to go home? Do you want to ride? And since then, I never come here without asking her if she needs a ride, because I see my mom in her. And that's how I can serve her. That's how I can show filial piety to my own mother, who is not here anymore. And all of us can do that. If you have not loved your parents in the past, you can still catch up by serving someone else who's like your mother, who's like your, oh, I'm so sorry. That's my mom calling me, maybe from heaven. Yes, Mom, I'm here. I love you. Yeah, so, yeah, that's what it is. The young people that you still have your parents here, take care of them, save money. I know, what is Pastor Reese? Pastor Reese come to my, Pastor Reese come to my store sometimes to get some ginseng, and sometimes we say, oh, Fatu, this is really expensive, I don't have money. I said, Pastor Reese, where are your kids? I will not let my father or my mother come to the store to buy his own ginseng. I will buy it for him. Yes, I have to buy everything my parents need. If I have to save money to do it, I will do it. That's my duty. That's my responsibility. I have one parent, one mother, one father, and one time in my life. So I have to make them happy. I have to do anything. And I can never pay them back. And you'll see there will be a verse that Robert will read later that talks about that. And right now, I'm just going to stop here because it's too much to say. Yeah, hallelujah. Amen. Okay, Robert, you can go ahead.
It's on. Okay. Thank you for that beautiful testimony. Filial piety is the age-old moral principle that children show respect and honor to their parents. It is the parents' due, for they have sacrificed and labored for their children's sake, giving them birth, feeding them, and providing them with a good start in life. Therefore, filial children do not regard it as an imposition to care for their parents in their old age. Ideally, this is not regarded as a matter of duty, but as a spontaneous and natural prompting of a grateful heart. Filial piety cannot be practiced with a self-centered attitude. This is True Father's words.
Yes.
Who is a filial child? He or she always thinks of what his or her parents want most and then acts upon it, taking the position of their object partner. The eyes of a filial child see the things his or her parents would like to see. The ears of a filial child hear the sounds his or her parents would like to hear. The heart of a filial child has feelings his or her parents would like to feel. In other words, filial children love centered on their parents' five senses, always yearning for the realm of their parents' heart. They only want what is good for their parents, never anything bad. And when their parents have something good, they try to make it even better. A son or daughter who worries more about his or her parents' cares and difficulties than about his or her own can be called a filial son or daughter. On the other hand, a son who always expects his parents to worry about his troubles, never concerned that they have their own difficulties, is not truly united with his parents. According to the principle of filial piety, the child who habitually ignores his parents' situation will fail to properly respond to his parents at the crucial moment when they desperately need his help. Though the son clings to his parents, continually imploring them to recognize and resolve his difficulties, at the crucial moment he will be a treacherous son. We experience this in our daily life. Filial piety starts when a child worries about his parents' difficulties more than his own, adding theirs to his own, and accepts this as a matter of course. On the other hand, when the child ignores his parents' difficulties, a breach occurs in the relationship. The way of impiety starts there. A filial son takes responsibility for his parents' sorrow. He goes to difficult places in order to resolve their sorrow, so that they might rejoice. If his parents work 10 hours and the son works 15, the parents will feel joy corresponding to the extra 5. Thus, a filial son considers how to supplement what is missing. He serves his parents, trying his best. What should you do in order to become a filial son or daughter? You should always keep your mind and heart in line with the direction of your parents' heart. A child who walks the path of filial piety does not act apart from his parents. If his parents go east, he goes east. And if his parents go west, he goes west. Should his parents suddenly turn back, he turns back without dissent. Even if they change their direction 10 times, he still follows them.
Thank you, Robert. Isn't that deep? Yeah, this is, I got it from the World Scriptures. It's in page 932. I think everybody can go back there and read it. And thanks, Pablo. Pablo is the one who helped me put this slide down. It's beautiful. Yeah, so I like it. Like when it says, you should always keep your mind and heart in line with the direction of your parents' heart. And he said here, if this parent go east, he goes east, and if the parent go west, he go west, and all that. Yeah, so that's how it is, you know. In my country, in my family, my mother, even at this age where I am, if my mother was to hit me, I will never fight back. I will just take the hit and cry. If you're gonna hurt me, go for it. I cannot fight back my parents. That's how important it is. So when Pastor Gloria asked me to give the sermon, I thought about this title, Filial Piety, but at the time there was nothing. I didn't have any experience. I don't know if Layla is here, my daughter Layla. I don't know, she's not here, no. Yeah, so I'm not sharing this experience because I want to expose my daughter to anything, but I have learned something from this experience. So when I chose this title, there was nothing. Everything was peaceful as always, and my daughter now turned 18. And I think she's trying to find herself, trying to find who she is. But the way it happened was very, very, very tough. She happened to just disappear one night. Just decided to leave because maybe she felt that she was not loved. Maybe she felt that she was not free enough to go out there and be with her friends. Because I am not American. I was raised in Africa, and I wanted to keep that tradition. I want my kids to stay home. I'm not going to force them, though, because here, at 18, you are free. And because the situation happened where actually someone told me directly in my face that she's free and she can do whatever she wants. And I was shocked because that never happened to me. It was only something that I have heard people talk about. I could not take it well because I don't know. I don't know that. I did not grow up to be free and doing whatever I want. I stayed home. I left home only when I was 23 years old. And even then, my parents didn't want me to go. And my brothers have to fight for it. No, the first time I left anyway, my dad was okay, I just go. And he didn't know what he was putting himself into. And I left and I never came back for 3 years. And when I came back with the divine principle, of course, my dad now was, okay, that's it, you're not going anymore. And now I was 29 years old. Imagine 29 years old have to come to America, and my dad say, no, you're not going, you're staying right here. And wow, I cannot say no to my father. My brothers have to take responsibility of that. They say, we're going to take care of that, but you go. You're going to go because we need you. So they did that. My father really didn't have any choice but listen to my brothers and let me go. 3 months later, my dad passed away. But I think that hurt was in there because he told my brother, who helped me come here, that he will never forgive him what he did, taking me away for a second time, even though I was 29 years old. That's my dad's heart for me. So I came here, my dad passed away. The day my dad was passing away, he came early morning, even though that, at the time he was not even gone to the spirit world, but he came to my dream at 4 a.m. And I was at the palace, at True Father. At the time, the palace was not there. But my dad took me there, and True Father came out of the palace and greeted my dad and told my dad how proud he was of him. And for me, that was just my dad giving me permission, right? Giving me permission. You can go, you can follow True Father, you can follow Reverend Moon, if that's your heart. Because he was leaving, that evening my dad went to the spirit world. So for me, that was just my dad, my dad in that parental heart coming to me, giving me that freedom to live. So the experience I have with Layla the other day when he left the house out of the blue, just because she went to the backyard to do some project, and at some point I didn't see her. I went there, she was nowhere to be seen. I started looking for her, asked Aliyah, she doesn't know where Layla went. I walked with Aliyah to the park, start texting her, and she was telling me, yeah, I don't have freedom, this and this and that. I said, where are you? Just come home, please. No matter what, just come home. And she just kept telling me stuff that was so scary. So I stay up that night, the whole night, trying to talk to my daughter. At some point, she just stopped communicating with me. And that was very heartbroken because I don't know what's going on with her. Someone took her, someone is hurting her. So just as a parent, her heart, it's very, very scary situation. So I stayed the whole night up. I could not sleep. Sometimes I tried, I could not sleep. I was praying. At that point, I did not cry, but I was just feeling so much guilt. What have I done? Why I did not follow my parents' way of raising me? Why I did not do what my father taught me, raising my children at a very young age, teaching them. All this guilt. I had a chance to have amazing parents who raised me very well. I have two parents who taught me how to raise my children. What have I done with my life? What have I done to my daughter? She stayed up the whole night. She stayed out there the whole night. I stayed up sitting, praying, walking around, just so desperate. And I didn't want to tell anyone because sometimes some things it's kind of a shame for me. Like I did not do my responsibility as a mother. So I kept it. At some point I have to contact my pastor at least and tell her about the situation. And then I stay up the whole night. In the morning now, it became more serious. Even at night, I called the police. Said, my daughter is missing. And what the police told me is just what I said. She's 18. Yeah, she's free. She's free to do what she wants. Maybe she's taking some air. Maybe she's not happy. I said, really? What if something is happening? So she's 18. So that was now, kind of, wow, really, this is now I can see. Wow, if I knew, maybe I'd go back home and raise my kids. Oh no. So yeah, so I didn't know what to do. I just stayed there, and actually I didn't even tell my husband because my husband have different way of handling things. So I have to hide that situation. He went to bed. He has to wake up early morning to go to work. So I didn't want to bother him, and I don't want him screaming around and maybe accusing me, all that stuff. I let him sleep, woke up in the morning, go to work while I was hiding behind the curtain, watching him do everything. And he left for work, and I stay like that, trying to see maybe she's gonna come in the morning. She never come back home. So I started now getting so desperate and crying and all that stuff. Now my body went to a mood of not even eating. I was not hungry anymore. I stayed the whole day. I could not eat. I was not hungry. I did not want to drink water. I was okay, but I just completely, wow, the parental heart. And I thought about God. Is this how God is with us? Is this situation God go through every day when, things happening in our lives, we are lost, we are crying, we are out there, completed. How, is that the heart of God? That's the heart of the parents. It was so deep until later on, and I told Pastor Gloria came to my house and asked me, do you want me to tell the community? I said, no, don't tell the community. Let's just try to wait. And then, and later on, Precious came with Irie. They went around. And, around the afternoon, Layla was come out of nowhere. But she was there, and I hugged her, and I started crying. But the girl was just like, yeah, I didn't do anything. It's your fault. So, but the mother is like just so happy. You know, I remember the story of who's that? Is it Isaac? Who's the the prodigal son? Yeah. What was the prophet like? It was Joseph's father. Was it Isaac? The one that was sold and finally, you know, I mean, I don't know, one of the kids. Yeah, I really felt the heart of, you know, you don't care. As long as my child is home, so I bought them pizza, I tell them, yo, you want to go eat this and that, you know, just celebrate, my daughter is home. You know, despite of all the pain she put me through, I was able to overcome that because she's home, you know, but it's still very painful, you know, to see that situation. And the other one I experienced yesterday was my friend. My friend, she's from Kenya. Her husband is a pastor, and he passed away about 2 weeks ago. So yesterday was the funeral, and they invited me to go there. And this man really lived a very good life. He did a lot of good things. The church was very big church, and it was very, very full. And they did a very nice ceremony in the family, and he has 3 kids, 2 girls and 1 son, just like my family. And just to hear the story that was told about this man, what he has done for God, the way he loved God, the way he loved people, the way he loved his family, his children, they all testify, they all share their experience with their father. I mean, the wife talked beautifully about the husband and the beautiful children. And I just came to realize the importance of family and the importance that fathers play in the growing and the filial piety in the family. Because, you know, fathers have that role. Because my father helped me really serve my mother and at the same time serve him and respect him. You know, so when you see my mother, how my mother respected my father. And my father loved my mother so much and had that such a heart of wanting her to take a break. Because my father, he was the youngest of 8, and he stayed behind when everyone left. He was the one serving his mother, taking care of the family. So when my mother came, maybe he was not able to do that, but he wanted us, the children, to serve. So this man loved his children. He left a big impact. And when he left the world, these kids came and talked about what he did for them. And I was just crying. And I said, will I have this kind of ceremony when I die tomorrow? What will children say about me? You know, what will our children say about us? Because the best gift we can give to God, I think, is to raise our children the best way we can and offer them to our heavenly parent, because they are our continuation. When we are gone, these children are our legacy. But if they do not do well, I will not rest, you know. Even in the spirit world, I will not rest, you know, because I have not done well. I have not have that ceremony where my children can say good stuff about me, or my husband, or me talking about my husband of what he has done good. Can I have that? I was really ashamed being someone who knows the Messiah, who knows the true parents, who have had this kind of teaching in my life, and was not successful in raising my children in a way that they can live a beautiful life and inherit what I have inherited from my own parents and our true parents, and then God. Because when I serve my parents, I'm serving God. When I serve true parents, I'm serving God, because God is invisible. But they are represented in this couple, my parents and true parents, that brought us this understanding today. So, yeah, just to say that our children, we are the one responsible of educating them in a way that they can really understand God's heart through us and grow up to be those children who can care for their parents, like love them, serve them, and just do everything. Because parents deserve that. Parents will never stop loving their children. And I have something here. Okay, here, there is this is in Islam. Said, moreover, mothers have been bestowed with even more favor in Islam due to their dedication and unconditional love for their children. There is a saying among Muslims that heaven lies below a mother's feet. So when your mother blesses you, that means you are going to be in paradise. If you make your parents' heart happy, That means your paradise is, how do you call it? Is guaranteed. That's what Islam say. Just because mothers, they do everything. And I said, a man came to the prophet and said, O messenger of God, who among the people in the most worthy of my good companionship? And the prophet said, your mother. The man said, then who? The prophet said, then your mother. The man further asked, then who? And the prophet said, then your mother. 3 times. And the man asked again, then who? And the prophet said, then your father. You see? So that's how mothers, because mothers go through everything they went through. Father can go to sleep, but the mother will never sleep until the child come home. But then the father is participating. Like when the father stand there and help the children respect their mother and serve their mother, you know, you are doing the same. You are really respecting and loving your wife. That's the best way to influence our children to serve and follow their parents. He said, filial piety also extend to the rest of the family. You know, it extends to the rest of the family with whom you should always maintain a good relationship, regardless of circumstances. You know, in my family, my brothers and sisters, we are like one. We are so close to each other because that's what my father did. That's what my parents did to us. They are gone, but we still like close and respect each other, serving my elder brother like my parents. So filial piety is an obligation, then not merely an optional. So in us, in our family, in our religion as Islam, it's an obligation. You have to serve your parents. And like guys, actually, brothers are more, they experience more difficulties because they are in the position of making sure the parents have everything. They are fed, they are sheltered. If a child grow up and having no job and make their parents proud like that, it's a shame for them. They rather die. And that's why you're gonna see so many young men leaving home, leaving Africa, going to different countries to find better lives because they wanna make their parents have something, build them a house, feed them, make them feel comfortable before they leave. If they don't do it, they are like worthless. And even people speak behind their backs, like you are not a good child. Look at your parents. Look at the condition in which they live. So that is the responsibility of a child to grow up and take care of their parents. And I wish our children, even here, we all come from somewhere else, and we have tradition, beautiful traditions. And when we come to different countries like here, we have to keep those traditions because they are very precious, and they will really help our children understand. Because I know many of our African brothers and sisters, when they come here and they see their children start acting up, they send them back home. And now I understand why they do that. They send them back home, take them to study the Quran, or help them live in that kind of difficult life and respect and see how people live. And then when they grow up to go to high school, to college, they bring them back. And when they come, they are very normal. They continue to respect their parents. They keep the tradition because that's how they grow. But they grow up here, they try to be influenced by other people, by the society. And they end up being bad kids and disrespecting their parents, running away from home, all those kind of stuff. So it's very tough. And now I understand why my friends send their children home, which I was very against. But I am like thinking, oh, if I knew, I would send Layla home. Maybe, and all of them, actually. Jacob is doing good, but still, even one child is not doing well, it's like you don't worry about even the one who's doing good. You always worry about the one that is in trouble, right? So we're going to continue with the reading, the last part of the, okay, Robert?
This is something from Buddhism.
Yeah.
Brethren, one can never repay 2 persons, I declare. What 2? Mother and father. Even if one should carry about his mother on one shoulder and his father on the other, and so doing should live 100 years. And if he should support them, anointing them with unguents, kneading and rubbing their limbs, and they meanwhile should even void their excrements upon him, even so could he not repay his parents. Moreover, if he should establish his parents in supreme authority, in the absolute rule over this mighty earth, abounding in the 7 treasures, not even thus could he repay his parents. Why not? Brethren, parents do much for their children. They bring them up, they nourish them, they introduce them to this world. However, brethren, whosoever incites his unbelieving parents settles and establishes them in the faith. Whosoever incites his immoral parents settles and establishes them in morality. Whosoever incites his stingy parents settles and establishes them in liberality. Whosoever incites his foolish parents settles and establishes them in wisdom. Such a one, just by so doing, does more than repay what is due to his parents. Father's words. Yet these days, children are denying their parents. From that starting point, they go on to flaunt basic human ethics and morality. This negation of morality is a sign that we're living in the last days. Unification Church members do not dance to the rhythm of this present trend. Instead, uphold a firm and true connection with your elders. Parents must establish it, children must establish it, and educators must establish it.
Yeah, so that's the end of my sermon, but I like this last part. We said, like it means when it said, settle and establishes them in the faith, whose inside his immoral parents settle and establishes them in morality. That means, like, I see it as no matter how bad you think your parents are, no matter what they do, you cannot repay them. You know, I mean, there are parents who do bad things, but for me, I think they have problems. It's not normal. There's something that's going on in their mind. They have some problems that make them do what they do, but it's not because, you know, you cannot give birth to a child and hate them unless something is wrong with your brain. You see? And he said here, like, whatever they do, no matter what, the only way you can repay your parents is when they're doing something wrong, like they're doing like stingy or like they, you know, immoral stuff. And a child, you bring back your parents. You try to restore them to be normal again. You know, only by doing that you can repay your parents. Otherwise, there's no way. There is no way we can repay our parents in what they have done for us. So I just pray and ask all of us, we are all children. We all have parents, whether they are alive or not. We are all children of somebody, someone brought us to this world. And if we are here today, it's because of that person. And however we have come to this world, our parents deserve our respect. They deserve our love. If you have something to serve your parents, to give them gifts, to buy them what they need, do it. If you can't, serve them. Serve them. You have energy, you have strength. Make them happy. Cut the grass, you know, wash the dishes, wash their clothes, you know, take them, get a haircut, give them a ride. Even if they can drive, just make them happy by saying, Mom, don't drive, I'm gonna be your driver today. You know, take them to places. Just make them happy. But if you have money and you can shower them with any kind of stuff, buy them a house. Why not? They deserve it. Don't wait for your parents to buy their own house. They may not have it. Or buy your own house, build a house, and make a space for them. Because true parents want us to live with a 3 generation. So when I'm building my house as a daughter, I'm going to build like a 3-store house or 2, and my parents will have their place. And they're not going to cook. They're not going to clean. They just have to live and be happy, and I will do everything. They don't have to worry. If you do that, I mean, God will be so happy, and you have your place guaranteed in heaven. Just doing that. All right, so thank you so much. Thank you.